The meaning of smear, children, is spread over in a very careless manner. The children all walked to school together. Our school was the Rameshwaram Elementary School, and the only one in the town then. We walked along the cobbled roads together, chatting and playing little games. We had to carry only a few books with us, and no one took school bags. The school buildings had rows of classrooms and a small playground. In the class, I sat with Ramanatha Sastri, my best friend. We had known each other from the first day we came to school and been friends ever since. He and I loved to chat, and somehow we never ran out of things to say to each other and do together. One day we decided we would build boats made of leaves and keep them ready in case it rained. Whenever we got a break between classes, we took up our pile of leaves and made little boats out of them, and imagine our joy when our whole fleet of boats set sail on the many puddles. If I saw an ant or some other insect, I carefully made sure it got a ride on my boat to safety. I don't know if the ants were any grateful for this unexpected joyride. But we were thrilled to see them clinging onto the flimsy leaf boats and sail away. So children, you can see the entire village had just one school, Rameshwaram Elementary School. You can imagine, children, today the amount of opportunities and options that we have around, right children? And the amount of progress we've done in the field of education. But still, despite having the sole one option over there, he made use of it. Right children? So this school catered to all the students, all the children in that village, and in order to reach the school, they had to go through the cobbled pathways. Cobbled pathways as in very rough roads, children, with bumps and with really rounded stones and all. So that was a very rough pathway. So they had to tread that rough pathway, children, in order to reach school. So they used to make sure that even that rough pathway is not painful. Sometimes children, you end up saying, oh, this is such a difficult track, it's not easy to walk, but no, that's not what they did. Abdul, along with his friends, they chatted, they played games, and they did a whole lot of things, children, along that pathways. And they would carry very few books. They did not require a whole bunch of books because the classes were not in a very formal ways. The classes were very short timings and with few lessons. So they just had to carry the books of a few subjects. The school building had rows of classrooms and a small playground, and he had a best friend too, Ramanatha Sastri. Now Ramanatha Sastri was his best friend. They did a whole lot of things together. Even you must be having a best friend. We sit with our best friend, we share common things, we share common thoughts, we play around, we do a whole lot of fun. So that's what he did with his friend. They were friends since a long time, right from the first day of school. They had been friends. Now children, they used to love making these boats out of leaves, and they would always wait that the rains will come, and then they will put it in the puddle and sail across their boat. What a pleasure, right children? Do you do something like this, children? Do you do something out of the abundant environment around us? Maybe the trees, maybe the gardens, maybe the leaves, the flowers. How do you relate to the environment? Nowadays we have very few opportunities, right children? But we forget looking at the environment, right? So we should make more and more such small efforts, children, connecting to the environment, because after all, it is our earth. We are grateful for the earth. We are grateful for the plants around us. Right, children? So similarly, children, they used to, between the classes, there were used to be breaks. So they used to go about and take these pile of leaves and make these small boats, and suddenly it would rain. And they would be so joyful. Now their boat will sail because of the droplets of water. They will sail through. Then Abdul used to pick up few worms or maybe ants and place them on the boats so that they would have a nice joyride. And he used to make sure that they are safe and sound. They used to make sure their joyride is to some safety, some point of, some safe point where they can get down. So that was such a sweet thing. That was such a sweet game. So that's what their where joy was about, even though this is such a flimsy board. Now, what is the meaning of flimsy, children? Very gentle and delicate, which can be easily destroyed. Still, they used to find joy in a simple leaf. And we require joy out of big things or small things. Your joy shouldn't be dependent on big, big toys or big, big gifts. Your joy should be in your mother, in her food, in your father, in his hard work, in his love for you, in these small things. These are gifts of God. Plants are gifts of God. Right, children? So you should find joy in simple things. Siva Subramanya Iyer taught me when I was 10 years old in the 5th standard. He was a great teacher and all of us loved to attend his class and hear him. One day he was teaching how birds fly. He drew a diagram of a bird on the blackboard depicting the wings, tail and the body structure. He explained how birds create the lift and fly. He also explained to us how they change directions while flying. For nearly 25 minutes, he gave the lecture with various information such as lift, drag, and how the birds fly in formations of 10, 20, and 30. At the end of the class, he wanted to know whether we had understood what he had been teaching. I spoke up and said, I had not understood. When I said this, he asked the other students whether they had understood or not. Many students then said that they too had not understood. Our response did not upset him at all. When we were scheduled to have our next class with him, he had a wonderful surprise. Okay, so children, you see over here that there was this very dear teacher, Siva Subramanya Iyer. Now, Siva Subramanya Iyer used to take their, maybe science class, just like our science teacher. Our EVS teachers and science teachers. So, children, these concepts which are taught in science and EVS, they are sometimes very, very informative to us and very, very, we get surprised learning new concepts of the working of the world, working of the life around us. So these concepts really attract children, and sometimes if you have a doubt, you will clearly state it. Similarly, Abdul had a doubt in one of the class. Which class was it, children? Where the teacher was clearly stating and explaining about the flying of birds. So wonderfully the teacher drew a diagram. Your teacher must have also done, right, children? Where the wings are made, the tail is made, and the various terms have been explained of flying, dragging, and making sure that the bird is like an engine, children, full of life. And how is it functioning? How is it changing direction? What are the formations? There is a formation of 10. There are 10 birds. There is a formation of 20 birds. There is a formation of 30 birds. How is it helpful? Why is this formation? What is formation, children? Formation is a shape of the birds. In what shape are the birds flying? In what, pattern are the birds flying? So these patterns are helpful. How and why? So all these things were being explained by the teacher, and he made a diagram wonderfully showing the wings and the tail, how they steer the path, change the direction. But Abdul did not understand, and he clearly told his teacher. Did the teacher get upset? No. Why the teacher didn't get upset? Because the main purpose of the teacher is to make the child understand. If the child is not understanding, then the teacher will make him understand again, maybe in a different way. So that's what their relationship was. Learning and, kind of being very, very clear and transparent. Right, children? So he asked the other students. Even the other students did not understand. He said that he would take us to the seashore that evening. And that was his surprise. He wanted to make sure that they understand it. And he scheduled a new class for them. The whole class went to the seashore of Rameshwaram. We enjoyed looking out at the roaring waves, and in the sky there were many birds flying around. He pointed out the birds that were flying in formations of 10 or 20 numbers, and we observed the marvelous flight formations they made. He asked us to watch how they looked when they were in flight and how they flapped their wings. He then told us to look at the tail and see how they use the combination of flapping wings and twisting their tail while flying. We noticed closely and found that the birds were able to fly in the direction they wanted to by using the tail and wings. Then he asked us, where is the engine in this bird? Do you know what the engine that powers each bird is? He explained that each bird is powered by its own life force and the motivation of what it wants. So children, that's such a wonderful thought. They did not understand. He took them outside for a practical lesson. One is a theoretical lesson. Theoretical meaning, children, you're studying something, learning from the book maybe. And practical as in going to the place and practically learning something. So children, over here he got them to the seashore of Rameshwaram and he showed them the waves, the birds, in what formation are they flying? Formations of 10, 20, 30. How are they flapping their wings? How are they using the flapping wings and the twisting tails to make their flight easier, to change their direction? Everything was explained. He showed them, look at the birds. How are they flapping their wings? Look at the birds. How are they using their tail? So in a live picture, the children were learning, looking at the birds and understanding. What a beautiful lesson that is, right children? They will remember it for a lifetime. You should also observe nature like this. And that's how our knowledge widens and we get more and more leadership qualities. Okay, so children, over here, the one question that he raised to them, where is the engine? What is the engine? And he explained, the life inside us is the engine. So do you have life? Yes, of course, we are human beings. This is the life gifted to us by God. And the second thing he told, and the desire to fly, the desire to reach somewhere. So children, is that desire in you? Because that desire is the engine to take you to your goal. So desire, what you want to become, why you want to become, how you want to become. That's what Abdul found that day. In the space of 15 minutes, he explained the concept of flight dynamics in birds. So that was something enlightening. He understood how flying is, done. And we understood everything. He gave us a theoretical lesson coupled with a live practical example available in nature. This was real teaching. For me that evening, I did not merely understand how a bird flies. It went much deeper. I felt as though the bird's flight entered into me and created a special feeling. Since that evening, I was sure that my future study had to be with reference to flight and flight systems. My teacher's teaching and the event that I witnessed that day decided my career path. One evening after the classes, I asked him, "Sir, please tell me, how can I progress further in learning all about flight?" He patiently explained to me that I should complete my 8th standard year and then go to high school. After that, I should go to engineering college, where I would be able to learn about flight. If I completed each step, I would be able to do something connected with flight sciences. So children, you see how suddenly it clicks. It clicks and you get to know your path. You get to know your direction. APJ Abdul Kalam that day was enlightened with his desire. Like the birds had a desire, his desire was to learn and know more about flights, to know about the flight systems, to know behind the science behind flights and to how humans can make use of it. Just like the nature, just like the birds. He went to his teacher and he asked, how can I progress in this field? And the teacher explained, complete your 8th grade. Complete, very simply and very, very clearly stated and very simple to understand. Complete the 8th grade, complete your high school. After that, go to an engineering college and choose the science of flight. Choose the science which deals with the system of flight. And this was all told to him so that he could pursue his desire, his dream, his goal, which was firm now from that day. This advice and the lessons that evening by the seashore gave me a goal and a mission for my life. I spoke to my father about my dreams and ambitions, and as a result, at the age of 15, decided to move to the Schwartz High School in Ramanathapuram. Saying goodbye to Rameshwaram and the familiar old streets was difficult. And I was a bit scared too of going away from this place where everyone knew me, where I knew every corner and tree and had gone so far away from my family that and I had to leave my mother behind me, made me especially sad. She too shed tears and made boxes of food that would last me for a few days. Those police that I was so fond of went with me on my first trip outside Rameshwaram. So children, you see over here that it was not an easy task. If you choose something, you have to work hard. It was not only a matter of choice, children. It was a matter of determination, pursuing in that path. Right? So what he did after that, children, he worked hard, and at the age of 15, he had to take up a decision of going away from his family. Is that easy, children? How attached you are to your parents. You want to sleep with them. You want to cuddle them. You want to be having good times with them. So it was very difficult for him for the first time to go away in an unknown place, maybe with new people. The streets were not familiar. Over here, you know every nook and corner. In a new place, new people, new streets, new area, new environment makes you very, very uneasy in the beginning, especially without your loved one. And he really missed his mother. He was really attached to his mother, along with his friends and other members of the family. And his mother was so full of joy. Though she was shedding tears, she was very sad. But for the progress and for the happiness of Abdul, she made sure she could do her bit by packing good amount of police for him, good amount of food for him which would last for a few days. This was her dedication. Sometimes, children, we have to take stern decisions, very firm decisions, and the decision over here was not easy, to go to a new place, and he had to move to a new school, Schwartz High School in Ramanathapuram, and saying goodbye to everyone is never easy. We left by the train. Jalaluddin and Samsuddin came along with me to help me settle down in the new place. I remember waving goodbye to everyone till they were little specks in the distance. My eyes were threatening to water, but I held back the tears. I was a big boy now, and how could I cry for my mother in front of everyone? But whatever one's age to live away from your parents for the first time, however exciting, can also be a bit frightening. My first glimpse of my new school was a plaque that was nailed to its entrance that read, "Let not thy winged days be spent in vain. When once gone, no gold can buy them back." It meant that the best days of our lives were now, when we were learning. And we had to make the most of this time. Once gone, the time would run like sand between our fingers, and we would never get it back again. The words not only filled me with hope and expectation, but also helped me put aside my homesickness. So children, you see over here, it is such a beautiful extract of the life of Abdul Kalam. And over here, after leaving his family, though his friends had come to settle him, Jalaluddin and Samsuddin, he would still, not walk away. He was standing at on his train. He was looking at all his loved ones till they looked like little dots, till they looked like little specks, and he really loved them. He didn't want to leave them, but he had to leave them. Though he had this great homesickness, when he reached school, there was something that gave him hope. What? There was this board, that plaque, which is hung on the wall, which read beautiful words. These words which motivated him. And though he was staying away from his family, which was really frightening, these words which read, "Let not thy winged days be spent in vain." What does that mean, children? These are the days of yours to fly. You can't expect this from your parents who are working now. These are the days of learning. If you make use of these days, your life will be full of opportunities. Once gone, no gold can buy them back. It meant that the best days were now, and when we are learning, and we have to make use of this time, because once gone it would be like sand running between our fingers. So children, make use of these days, learning every second. It's not necessary you only learn from your book. You learn from everything. You learn from a fan. You learn from the trees. You learn from the food we eat. What is this food? Inquire. Wake your curiosity and your eagerness. And today you have so many opportunities to trace the answers through internet. But you have to find, you have to have that eagerness. And something one day will click you, children, and you will find your true path. Just like APJ Abdul Kalam. He got hope from that plaque which hung on the board, and he understood that this is my direction. Though I'm feeling homesick, I still have to keep moving. We don't have to quit. That is such a wonderful lesson, children. That's the chapter that we studied today, children. I hope you all enjoyed the chapter, and this chapter gives us a lot of learning, children. I want you all to read the chapter once at home and then do your exercises. I am messaging you how you have to attempt your question answers, which question answers you have to write. Okay, and I hope you all enjoyed the story. Have a nice day, children, and take care of yourself. Thank you.